Hello, it's Angela from Createful Living. It is so wonderful to be back with you today. I've really missed posting on YouTube, and I've been so excited to share with you this February 2019 sunflower theme in my personal bullet journal. So in February, it's been actually very cold at the start. We've had a lot of snow, and I know that's been the case in a lot of places in the Northern Hemisphere. And it's one of those times of year that you just are longing to see the sun. The days are still not as long as I'd like them to be, being South African, and winter just feels like it's been drawing on. So I'm longing for spring, and my bullet journal is the place that I escape to. When everything else seems cold, I get cozy inside and I dream about warmer days and feel a little bit like a sunflower looking for the sun. So I decided to go quite simple this month with a focus on my lettering improving. As you know, one of my big goals for 2019 is to improve my lettering, and so I'm focusing on that. At the moment you can see this slightly slowed down back to normal pace, filling in with some faux calligraphy and my Faber-Castell pen. I'm busy writing that word, and I'm pleased to see my lettering is improving, and I'm hoping by the end of the year you'll see that to just continue and continue. And I've drawn the sunflowers in that jug of water with the same pen as well. So I'm just finishing off that lettering, and one of the themes for this month is going to be really about simply beautiful. So keeping things simple, sticking to just a few colors, really stripping back my design so that it's not so time intensive as my painting theme was with the Africa theme in January. Really being able to focus more time on practicing my skills, on enjoying just the functionality of being organized, and yet still having a little bit of art, a little bit of creativity and fun inside my bullet journal. So I'm quite happy with how the setup has turned out. So you can see my lettering still is quite slow, but I thought you'd want to see that in normal time, and I'm going to just go ahead and speed up now again for the rest of the video. So we're going to paint this and color in the sunflowers and that jug of water. I decided I wanted to have quite contrasting colors, so I'm going to have the bright yellows of the sunflowers together with a blue, a really royal bright blue, and have those two colors, and then maybe mix in a little bit of green for the leaves as my three main theme colors throughout all my spreads in February. So now I'm just going to add some texture first of all before I add the color, and I'm doing this with lots of little dots, just creating that 3-dimensional effect. Stippling, I think this is called, and lots of dots, just putting more and more dots around the sides so that's darker, and less dots in the middle so it creates this curved surface. It is a little time consuming, but it is very therapeutic to just draw dots and see how pretty it looks, and I think it's well worth the efforts to have that kind of detailing. So I like how that it turned out, and then adding just a little bit more shading before I add those colors that I mentioned to you earlier. So now I'm adding that bright yellow. I'm using W.H. Smith brush pens. I managed to get a set of those, so I'm just trying them out for the first time in bullet journal. Adding some greens. I used 2 tones of greens and 2 colors for the sunflowers, so the yellow and orange or amber color, and then I've used blue for the jug. And because these are water-based pens, I've gone over with a little bit of water using a Pentel water brush, which is a brush that you can actually put water inside, and as you press it in, the water comes out the brush end, so you don't have to dip it in water. And now I'm using those brush pens, trying to look to do some brush lettering with a little bit more embellishments. And rather than the faux calligraphy that you saw for February, I'm now practicing my brush lettering with these pens, using the style Simply and Beautiful. To pause for a little while because I was trying to think, should I use the same color, should I use a different color? And eventually I do stick just to the blue with some bold capital letters, trying to remember to make my downstrokes thicker and my other strokes thinner, I'm still really getting that muscle coordination used to doing that, so it's taking me a little time to get that coordinated and just creating a table line. So that's my introduction page to my theme, and now I'll just do a little flip through of my January setup after the pen, because I thought you might want to see what I did for the whole month. So the theme was Africa, change is inevitable, and you can see all the weeklies. This was a drawing challenge I did with Wintry Animals, that's just skipped over there. My habit tracker and finished mood tracker, my sleep tracker, another weekly spread which I really liked. I think that's one of my favorite weeklies there with the hummingbird, a couple more weeklies, and a final January review, and we're back to my new theme. So you can see it's very different to what I did before. I like the variety, and now I'm going to be setting up my monthly spread, just looking back on the dates. I did do this over a couple of days, so the lighting has changed, so you'll see that change as you go through, but hopefully you'll still be able to see the overall spread. So I'm drawing a little monthly spread just to put in key dates from my yearly spread. I like to do this at the start of each month just to refer to, and then since February started in the middle of the week on a Friday, I'm just doing Friday, Saturday and Sunday as little mini sunflowers. Just a simple spread, on the right there is my first sort of part of the week, just to finish off the end of that week. And at the bottom I'm doing a big large sunflower quite simply to put in my areas of reflection where I do my different things that I like to remember, celebrate, learning, hoping, those kind of things. And again, I'm going to add some colour just using the brush pens because I find that quite time efficient. I've written the letters using the yellow brush pen, the numbers for each date, and I really like how that turns out. It's something I've done before, but I find a really useful way to just show what day everything is, and I can just write over that. And again, I'm adding the blue so that I stick to the same color theme, and trying my hand at my brush lettering now for the word February and for goals, which I'm going to write at the bottom. Trying to just keep things really stripped back, a lot simpler, a lot more focused, so that I can really focus on functionality and make sure I keep up with the setup. So again, just adding the colors, numbers in the middle of the sunflowers, which I like how this turned out. I think the blue along the top of the calendar may have been a bit dark, but I do really like the blue lettering and the yellow and orange colors and the contrast that brings, and the brightness in spring that it feels. I feel like this really is an escape from the cold days outside. So I'm really liking that overall setup. What do you think? Do you like the difference? Do you like a more simpler spread, or do you like something a little bit more complicated? Love to hear your thoughts. Alright, so this next page took a little while to set up. This is my mood and gratitude tracker. And I'm again going back to my roots, to one of the first kind of spreads I ever did, which was a mandala mood spread. When I first started bullet journaling, I used to do lots and lots of mandalas. And the idea is that there are 28 little areas, semicircles from the center of a sunflower, and each one of those will get filled in a different color and a different pattern as I go through the month. So the sunflower will emerge in lots and lots of different colors, and I'm just filling in my different key at the bottom to show moods from lowest to highest with a 5 scale, which I like, and trying different patterns for the inside so that I can fill this in if I have my colors with me, or if I just have a black pen, and then I can add the color whenever I want to. I'm also combining mood and gratitude this month, which I think is quite fun. I'm going to write a word in each of these petals around the outside, and I also have a space for a little line or comments, which I'll do on the right in a moment. So I've made sure I've had 28 sections of petals, which are all different sizes, but gives that sunflower impression. And although this doesn't look too impressive just to look at the moment, I think it will look lovely at the end of the month, and I look forward to showing it to you when I do my March setup. So if you want to see my March setup, don't forget to like and subscribe so that when that comes out you'll be able to see. I'm hoping to have that up before the end of February rather than so late next month, but we'll see what happens. So down the right, I'm writing the numbers 1 to 28 for February, so that I have a place to write a little note or a little sentence. Sometimes I like to clarify what was happening with my mood or what I was doing or some sort of memory. So this is kind of gratitude memories and goals and moods all kind of combined into one. And again, focusing on trying to improve my brush lettering. I've penciled in the letters just to make sure I've got the spacing correct. And I'm using the thin end of the dual brush pen to do sort of faux writing. And now I'm using the brush end to write the word mood and gratitude. Trying to add that same kind of similar flourish that I did for the first page for the Simply Beautiful, just so that there's some kind of conformity throughout. I'm trying to force myself to do these different letterings, and because I think that's the best way to learn, is just to do, and you'll slowly get better and better. And so I'm adding some extra colors. And now I'm doing a weekly spread for the first week of February, and I have decided to make the sunflowers literally look like suns in the spread, just to have a bit of a different layout, create a bit of variety. Again, sorry the lighting's not great. I was doing this in the middle of the day, and the sun was actually shining quite bright through the window. So I did quite a bit of pen work with my Faber-Castell size F pen, I think I have there, and just creating the texture for the inside of the petals. Did a slightly different texture for the petals. I was doing long lines all the way through rather than just a few lines at the base of the petal and at the top. I decided to make these elongated long lines throughout and create some shading there. And I really like how the petals turned out with that much more detailed, drawn fine liner work. And they really do look like the end of the road going into the sun setting being the actual sunflower. So I just like the imagery of all of that. Sunrise, sunset kind of idea. And then all these sections of triangles along the bottom, what I'm planning to do there is to have each one of those represent a day. So there's 8 sections that'll be days with next week, so 7 days and 1 with the next week. And then I have 4 sections along the top, which I'm going to use for my reflections, for different things that I'm celebrating or learning or hoping, all the different things that I'd like to reflect on. So that's the pen work done, and now I can add a little bit more colors, and you can see I added the green and the yellow. So quick flip through so you can see all the pages so far. And that's the end of my February setup. I will be doing a level 10 life spread soon, so that'll be coming up, and I'll also be adding a couple more weeklies as the month progresses, so definitely look out for those sunflower themed spreads coming up. And please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful to you. I hope it inspired you. If you recreate any of these, please tag me on Instagram, Createful Living. I always love seeing what you do, and I'm so grateful to be a part of the bullet journaling community. Alright, see you soon.